Hello, I'm Atul Thomre, Solution Architect here at Axway. And in this video, we'll talk about partner onboarding using ServiceNow and Gateway APIs. Being data transmission and integration engineer, I strongly believe that we not only bridge the gap between two applications, but we touch all three P's responsible for successful businesses: product, people, and processes. And we should never neglect an opportunity for improvement in any of these areas. Having said that, in this video, we are going to look at one of these opportunities to improve overall onboarding experience using Axway APIs. But before that, let's pause for a second and think about your onboarding process today. How do you interact with your business partners to get new connections set up so that your trading partner can start exchanging data with your organization? Are you gathering the information from them over email, phone, or you're asking them to put everything in an Excel template which you have created for them? And then ultimately data transmission gateway admins are the one who are configuring those objects manually, referring to this information gathered. Question to ask yourself: is this approach working well for you? Are you achieving your project timelines? Are you caught up on your backlog of all the onboarding requests? Think about it. Most of the time, even though data exchange might not be your core business, but onboarding a partner and setting up the transmission flow is an important aspect of the project. And sometimes it is the critical milestone without which project does not move forward, and it can very well risk your overall project timelines and goals. So with this traditional approach of onboarding, I think there are a lot of opportunities for improvement which can be exploited to streamline the process as well as empower your business partners. Now, if you look at the value pyramid here, these challenges and opportunities penetrates on each level. With your gateway admins as your boots on the ground, they have to keep up with the stakeholders to gather that information in emails, spreadsheet, which are unmanaged, which leads to errors and time delays, and ultimately increasing the backlog of your requests. Because of these scattered ways of working, management do not have the clear visibility on what gateway team is working on and in which order. It becomes challenging to track the progress of these requests and prioritizing them as per their severity. And as you can guess, ultimately this impacts on a strategic level with your overall brand reputation, with delayed projects and increased turnaround time. So the question becomes, how do we target these opportunities? And the simplest answer is by making use of Axway's data transmission APIs. We at Axway has designed all of our solutions keeping API first approach in the front. Pretty much everything which you can do through admin user interface can be accomplished using APIs. Now there are different ways you can take advantage of these APIs to improve the onboarding experience. For example, if you are a big organization providing data transmission as a shared service across different departments or different subsidiaries with large IT ecosystem, you can expose these curated APIs on Axway Marketplace so that your IT ecosystem can see those APIs and use to build services involving data transmission. But let's say if you do not have any tools or processes in place, you can innovate the partner web experience and create your own application using Axway's technology partners. These apps can be exposed to your partner ecosystem to provide details required for the onboarding, which will not only promote your brand, but also improve the turnaround time for the project. Or If you already have ITSM like ServiceNow, you can enhance your onboarding request workflow by making use of these APIs. In today's video, we are going to look at the third option, where we will be using ITSM to onboard a partner. So let's first set up the scenario. We have a payroll partners who will be sending the payroll file using HTTPS, which will then should be routed to the backend application like SAP and archival place like AWS S3. So we would need to provision them credential to connect to the gateway. We would also need a payroll partner's SSH server details to send the outbound files. So now let's look at this from the business stakeholder perspective. Scott Harvey, who is a relationship manager or BPO, just made a new partnership with ADP and wants to onboard them so that they can start exchanging the data and project timelines can be accomplished. Now, in typical scenario, line of business will start the conversation with gateway admin on initiating the request and details needed from the partner. And this back and forth between partner, data transmission team, and people like Scott goes on and on. And you can still do that, but in our case, we are taking a different approach. In our case, Scott is going to use ServiceNow to onboard ADP and provision details for them to connect to the gateway. So let's look at the demo. This is my ServiceNow personal development instance where I have created an onboarding application where my business partners can come and submit the onboarding request. So as a Scott, I'm going to create a request for ADP. So I'm just going to fill this form, partner name as ADP. There are some options where you can fill other metadata information like email, phone contact details, address. Type as partner. I'm going to select priority as high. Here, we are pulling the certain fields from the gateway, like for example, business unit, and you can build the validation around those fields as well. Then under profile, communication profile, you have three options: client, server, or both. We are going to go with the both. So client profile, where basically ADP is going to connect to us using HTTPS protocol. So we are basically creating credential for them with password authentication. And server profile, this is the remote server details of ADP, which we would be needing to send the outbound files. And there is also an option where you can attach the encryption keys for the outbound file transmission, which will get imported into the gateways. Once you submit, what it is doing behind the scene is basically calling the gateway APIs to create those configuration objects. Now here you saw one of the simplest workflow where upon submission, it is making those API calls and creating the objects in gateway. But you can plug this in your existing process and add all the approval stages. For example, Scott's manager has to approve this request. Then it will go to gateway admin for review, and once they approve and submit, then and then only these API calls are gonna make or create those objects in the gateway. So now let's look at the gateway if this particular user account has been created or not. So if you look at this, ADP account has been created, all the metadata and filled information which we had provided in the ServiceNow form. It also has the transfer site created with the remote server details which we have provided in the ServiceNow request form. So you can see ADP MFT, outbound, inbound, all the folder details, all the credentials which we have mentioned, it has been created in the transfer site. If we would have uploaded any login certificate or encryption certificate to our ServiceNow request, those certificates would have appeared in this section of the user account. Plus, as a gateway admin, you would have full control and visibility over what is happening in your environment. So as you can see, API admin is the credential which I created for my ServiceNow. As you can see, it gives all the information, all the audit trails about what objects have been created or updated in the gateway. So now that account has been created, let's verify if user is able to log in with the created credential. Now, as you see, I was able to log on successfully with the given credential. So now Scott can take this credential and provide the information to ADP so that they can start validating the connection and the project keeps moving on. Let's quickly review. We saw how we can create a self-service model with added governance visibility layer so that you can reduce the cost of shared service and empower your line of business to take ownership of some of the onboarding tasks. We also saw it is easy to integrate and plug the data transmission gateway into your existing ITSM processes to improve the onboarding workflows. And as gateway admins, you still have complete visibility and control over what objects are getting created or updated with full audit trail. Now, if we look at our value pyramid again, with this approach, we can add value on all three levels. We are empowering our line of business and promoting self-service with streamlined data transmission processes. We are also increasing operational efficiency of core data transmission team. Now, because of this, management is able to reduce the cost with improved audit and full visibility to track the progress of the onboarding request and prioritizing the work accordingly. And ultimately, with improved time to revenue and turnaround time, you are protecting your brand reputation as easy to do business with. Similar benefits can be achieved using other two approaches, as principle of API first is common among all of them. For more details on other two methods, stay tuned for the next video. And to close my demo, I want to reiterate what I said in the beginning. There is always a scope for improvement, and if you have an idea, the value of that idea lies in the using of it. That's all for today. I hope this will help you visualize the benefits of Axway Data Transmission Gateways and its rich and granular set of APIs to streamline your operation. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out to us at support@axway.com. Thank you.